Join us and unwind with a good book. Welcome to Relaxing Reads.
Hi, it's Deb in Halifax.
Hey, it's Simone in Vancouver.
Hi, it's Tanya in Edmonton.
Happy to be chatting with both of you again today. How was summer for both of you?
Oh my gosh. It was a second, a minute.
It's like this summer will be different because it was too fast.
Yeah. It was nice while it lasted, but wow, it was hot and sticky like our current read.
Sticky? I was going to say hot and steamy, but okay.
Well, yeah, the steamy. And then we get sticky.
Yeah.
Well, our latest read, This Summer Will Be Different, comes from New York Times bestselling author Carley Fortune, and it is hot and steamy as this summer. Lucy is a tourist vacationing at a beach house on Prince Edward Island. Felix is a local who shows her a very good time. The only problem, Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat that electric night again. But of course, easier said than done. It is a setting that will have you planning out a trip to the island. There's a ride or die friendship like Anne and Diana from Anne of Green Gables, and a sexual tension that'll melt the Cow's brand ice cream.
Yes, it will.
And if you've not tried it, you must. Just dip your head in it. Oh my gosh.
I seriously need to go to Prince Edward Island.
Yes, me too.
Okay, ladies, yes, it's a must. It's, coming from the Maritimes, it's one of those places that for many families, including mine, that was the vacation hotspot to go every summer. So if you went for a weekend, that was beautiful. If you were lucky enough to be there for a week, even better. But Carley Fortune's description of PEI is really perfect. It's romantic, it's breathtaking, peaceful, welcoming. As soon as you enter the island, like so many other wonderful places in our country, but this one I can speak from experience. As soon as you land on the island, you feel like you can breathe easier. It is really a must to check out.
That sounds lovely. So, Deb from Halifax, what is it? What's the best way to get there? Is it by plane? How long does it take?
It's not very. You can either go ferry. So to the ferry from Halifax, it's about an hour and a half, and it's not it's less than an hour on the ferry. Or you can take the bridge, which is in New Brunswick, and that's I guess a few hours going that route. So depending on where you want to be on the island, but again, the island isn't very big, so no matter which direction you take, it won't be that long to get there.
I have just recently have had so much of a fascination with the Maritimes because I never really thought about it before. I mean, having always lived on the West Coast, the furthest I've gone, east is Toronto. And then after working with many of you in Halifax and on the East Coast, it's just opened up that whole I want to explore that side of our country because I'm so unfamiliar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last summer I was able to go to Halifax. I met Deb. It was really awesome. And I'd never been to the Maritimes before, and it is just so cool. Like it's such a cool vibe. So different than the West Coast because I've lived in Vancouver too. So different than the prairies. It's just got its own vibe, and it is just. I just wanted to stay.
And then you take a beautiful location like PEI. You're right there, Deb. Like she does such a great job of describing it. For those of us who have never been there, it just makes you yearn to go there because you're like, this place is this beautiful. And then you add in this romance. I feel like this is the steamiest book we've read during our entire run of the Relaxing Reads podcast. Do you agree?
Oh, 100%. I felt like I was reading 50 Shades and having to look around to see who might be watching me read this book when it was just me in my own dwelling.
And it's so...
What I was getting the hot flashes and not even going through one of my menopausal hot flashes.
Well, it's one of those things.
I think I was blushing. Yeah.
It's like when I heard that this book was all the rage, like coming out in summer, I was seeing it on so many people's social social media feeds. It was the book of summer. And, when you select a book like that, you're always kind of curious because the general population wants this book. Like, this is what everybody is reading and raving about. So you're always like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be about. It's going to be a little rom-com, a little romance. And then you're like, whoo, wow. And it's like, while I was reading it, same thing, Deb, I was like, should I be reading this? Is this appropriate? And I'm like, am I a prude? Because there's a lot of action going on in this book.
Yeah.
A lot of action. And I was like, are there really, Deb, you've been to Prince Edward Island. Are there guys that look like Felix? Because, oh my.
Well,
OMG,
there's certainly
with that
lots
guy.
of handsome men. And funny thing is, doing an event a number of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet a champion shucker from the island. His name was not Felix, and I don't remember him being how Felix is described. He was a good-looking gentleman for sure, but he was not how Carley describes Felix in the book. But yes, there are a lot of lovely-looking gentlemen on the island.
Wow.
An oyster shucker, champion, almost champion, very good with his hands, which we found out in the book. Lots of functions.
Talent. It's a talent.
This man, talent. It's a talent. Yeah, it's a talent. I'm like, I finished that book and went, oh my.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need to go to Prince Edward Island. Other than the red earth, everything is red hot there as far as I'm concerned with this book, the way Carley wrote it.
And just touching on, like, we talk about how beautiful it's described as a location. And, it's a place that Lucy just wants to go to over and over again. Felix aside, it makes her feel like home being there. Is there a place that either of you go back to over and over and over again? Like, is there a place that kind of feels like this for you? Other than home?
Other than, I think I've talked about this, and I don't remember what book perhaps we were talking about, but New Zealand did it for me. When I've only been there once, but I remember when I landed and then got off the plane in the airport, I felt very emotional, and something I'd never felt before going to a foreign country. And so I feel like it's very similar to what she feels when she arrives on the island. And I get that too. I haven't been to Prince Edward Island yet this summer. Oh, I guess now our summer's over. Okay, so I'll work on that for next. But it's so neat and tidy, and there's so much beautiful space. People take pride in, a lot of farmland, of course. But yeah, there's something about that air that grabs you, and the people. And that's, I've certainly felt that when I was in New Zealand.
I wish I had somewhere more exotic to talk about, but I get that feeling from Calgary. And it's weird because my family, we lived in between Edmonton and Calgary, and we always went to Calgary because that's where my mom's family was. So we always used to go there. I remember as a kid going to Calgary, and it has a certain smell to it that for whatever reason makes me feel like I'm home. Now, I don't want to live in Calgary, but it just, makes me feel like that. And beyond that, a lot of places that I feel perhaps more at home than here in Edmonton is when I go to Vancouver and I see my best friend. It's really, or I go to Toronto and I see another really great friend. And it's like, I really miss those people. So when I go to visit them, I just feel like a kinship with where they're living, and I just, want to be there because I miss them, and they just feel they feel like home to me, my friends.
I think that's just it. I was going to say the same thing. I've never felt that about a location. I used to have a big calling to always go to India when there was a lot of my family there, and I loved being there. But a lot of my family now has moved to parts of Canada or Australia, so I haven't been back in forever, but my best friend who I grew up with lived here in the Lower Mainland, and she moved to the island. She moved to Parksville a few years ago. And now it's that opportunity when I get to go and see her. We do, like I went this summer, we stay at her home, and it feels good to get all that quality time with her. And then we'll take kind of like separate trips on our own, but that's starting to feel like that's the destination every year or a couple times a year we just kind of want to go to. And I guess it's kind of like this Lucy and Bridget situation. Like it started all with this friendship and her taking her back to her home. But yeah, it's so beautiful when you have a friendship like that where you both feel like you're each other's kind of kind of home.
Yeah,
And I
and you
really
can
feel
let
like
go
that,
and
you know,
release.
Yeah, and not feel
Yes.
judged. With our profession and what we do, we meet a lot of people, we talk to a lot of people, and sometimes it can feel like it's always a bit surface or just social. And then you have those friends where you're like, I can truly be myself and let go, dress how I want, not wear makeup, act how I'm acting, and it just feels good.
Yeah.
Sort of like Anne from Anne of Green Gables. You know?
Oh my
There was a
gosh,
lot
yes.
of stuff going on in this book about that set of novels, and I felt the same way. I really love that friendship with Bridget and Lucy. And when I was growing up, I met this girl. She had a farm 3 miles from where I lived, so we just knew each other. We were the same age. I met her when I was 3, and she became my best friend, and she's still my best friend. She lives in Calgary. She has a family, 3 boys. But every time we get together, it's like no time has gone by. And about the bicycle, so there's a part in the book where Bridget is riding a bicycle and Lucy gets on the handlebars, and that's sort of how they connect. Well, I did that when I was younger with my best friend Beverly, and she fell off the handlebars and she had stitches above her eye, and she still has a scar above her eye, like her eyebrow line, where she fell off the bike because she was riding on handlebars.
Wow.
So just
my
a
dear.
note to people, don't
No.
Don't ride on
So was that the
handlebars,
two of you riding together?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, so
rode
you
together.
branded your friend. You wanted. You
did.
are
I
mine.
did.
You are my people.
Every time she looks in the mirror, she goes, "That damn Tanya." Yeah.
Oh, I
Anyway,
can't
that's why I
help but
laughed
love
out
her.
loud. Yeah, I know. She's fantastic.
But
She's fantastic.
But that's
just-
your memory
yeah.
and that's your story. And I'm sure when people ask her, it just takes her back to that moment. And you talk about just those little beautiful moments in life. And yeah, it's unfortunate you got a scar from it, but a great story to tell. And you still have the friendship, so it's okay.
I gave my best friend a scar as well. We were baking cookies. I think we were in grade 6 or grade 7. I went to her place after school, and anyway, I wasn't paying attention, and I was taking the pan out of the oven, and she moved her arm and got a little burn. So I think she still has that little scar too. Actually, she's visiting me soon,
burns.
so I'll have to ask her if she still
You'll have
has
to
it.
look.
Well, I haven't branded any of my friends, so I guess we're not as close as you and your friends. So I'll have to work on that.
Oh my dear!
But it was a really lovely relationship in the book, right? It just really, definitely, you get all the feels from that, right? Because I think everybody has someone in their life that they felt that way, with somebody that you, for whatever reason, you just connect like it's some otherworldly level, right? You can't really explain it. It's just a kinship, right? What does Anne say in the novels when she talks about friends? Oh, I can't think of it.
There's a few
my
quotes in
gosh.
the book too.
There's a
but-
few.
Yeah.
But even the relationship with Lucy and her Aunt Stacy, like that was really beautiful too. And you know how she could just kind of be a little bit more of herself than she felt with her family. So that was really nice to kind of go through the motions of that and everything she went through with the loss of her aunt and everything. And yeah.
I loved Aunt Stacy. I think I'm an Aunt Stacy. Like I never had children, and I like to drink wine. I'm not the best cook, and I love to go to theater. I mean, that's Aunt Stacy. I loved
So
her. And
fun.
I had an aunt. Aunt Doreen, my Aunt Doreen, who just passed away a few months ago, and she was kind of not quite like that, but she was a teacher. She was her own woman. She loved the arts. She was just everything that sort of my mom really wasn't, and she's just so different. And I kind of connected with Aunt Stacy, with my Aunt Doreen. Yeah.
I love that because it's like when you see, as we age, you sometimes worry about aging more, but then you see these older women who continue to just live life to the fullest and live for themselves and do all these amazing things, and it doesn't seem as scary because you're like, wow, she's still thriving and having fun, and that's what life can be. And it was interesting at the back of the book when I got to the end, what Carley Fortune, the author, wrote about. She wanted this book just to be fun. Like, when's the last time you had fun? Like, sometimes we get so caught up in our day-to-day life with everything we're doing, and it's like pausing to just be like, what did I do for myself today? Or what can I plan this weekend that's just fun and silly and just makes me feel good? And sometimes I know I forget to do that because you just, with me as a mom, 2 kids and all that, just taking care of them, I sometimes forget about myself. But it's always a good reminder to just think about that.
I love it. It reminds me of just recently I visited my cousin, and we actually went to the theater and talking about these older women like Aunt Stacy. There were a number of senior women at this show, and of course, intermission, we go to the bar and everybody's having a drink of wine, and they were so complimentary toward myself and my cousin, and it was like we were hanging out with a new group of girlfriends, and then, in line at the bathroom. And so it was, and again, I think that, women, no matter the age, we can all come together and talk about, similar things. And it didn't seem like there was much of an age barrier, but there they were having fun with their girlfriends. And, we were out having a fun afternoon. And I think sometimes you need those friends to kind of remind you that, okay, let's take time today, and it's just going to be about us. You leave your kids home. Somebody else will mind them. And just focus on smiling a little more and breathing a little deeper and sipping on that wine.
It makes me think, like, have you ever noticed with those friends who maybe have young children or a lot going on, they get the wildest when they go out because they really just need to let loose because they haven't in a long time, and they're just in their element because it's their opportunity to just release. Yeah. Being able to have an adult beverage and being surrounded by adults that you can have those conversations with.
I thought it was interesting, like when I read that comment from Carley saying this, she just wanted this book to be fun, And I think sometimes, like for myself, I just get so busy with like just my own internal head, and other things going on that if someone were to ask me, what do you do for fun? I honestly don't know what my answer would be. And so it gave me pause to think, you should do something about that. Like, what do you like to do, Tanya? What do you like to do? And I feel like, maybe I'm just too tired or whatever. I don't get out to go do those things that I used to do. And I think I really, need to take a page from the book where Lucy sort of has her moment towards the end and kind of rediscovers who she is and what she wants and what she likes. And she has an elevated experience because of that. And I thought, geez, I need to do some work.
And it's just
have some fun.
Yeah, and it's getting out of your comfort zone. Like, I feel like for me, it's like, oh, let's just go out and have dinner and drinks. And you get into that cycle. And it's like, is this really fun? Like, it's fun to have conversation, but you can also go for a walk with someone, do an activity with someone, and just do something like that. And my son's spring baseball team, a bunch of the moms were doing these dance classes, and they all talked about it. And they said, you should join. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I can. And, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but they're all like, it's a good workout. And now I've signed on for 5 weeks with these moms to do dance classes on Wednesday night. Yay. And it's like, they were like, don't worry, no one's watching us. It's for fun. We're just going to have a good time. But I was so afraid to just like put myself out there in that way. Like, okay, I'm going to dance with these women. I don't really know a lot of them, but I kind of was like, it's 5 classes, just do it. And if it's a good workout, it's good for me. And now I'm really looking forward to it. And again, it was like one of those things that I just thought too much about. I didn't sign up with them in the spring. I didn't do it in the summer. And then for fall, they sent out the link and they're like, who's registering? Come on, Simone, you got to register. And I was like, okay, I'll register. And now I'm actually looking forward to it. But it's like, sometimes you just need that little push. And like you said, Tanya, just like get out of your head and be like, I can do these things. Yeah, it's okay. It's not going to, Yeah.
And it's better than like, you can get into the whole thing of like, going for dinner and drinking wine. Well,
that's fun.
Well, that's an obvious one.
It's fun too. Yeah, it's very obvious, yes. But going out and doing something that actually kind of like elevates what are those things we get when we're happy? Runners get that endorphin thing. I don't know, whatever it is. That little high that you get when you're actually happy, like just filled with,
the oxytocin moving around and doing its thing.
Yeah.
And it does. Like something like this, the author also wrote, it was based on kind of like her experience with her girlfriend and going away and exploring the island. And it makes me think like, When was the last time you just had that time with your best friend? Like, just that girls trip where you can just have fun. And sometimes we don't do it as often as we want. We don't get a chance to do it as much, but you got to kind of plan for those because we just, again, get lost in the shuffle. And even if it's like one night, you can't do a whole weekend or something, spending the night at a hotel or having a little slumber party sleepover, like that's always fun too.
I guess it's about making time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they say that even if we're at home, we just phone our friends and just catch up. Could be a quick 15-minute conversation. You just feel better. I know I feel, I haven't talked to my dad in quite a while. I talked to him last night. I'm like, I like talking to him. He kind of takes over the conversation, but I still, everything is about fiddling, but that's okay. I can put in my life a little bit in between all of that, but it just made me feel better that I actually connected.
Do you think that could be it? I find my mom is like that too. Now when I hang out with her, it's just, she'll just, the whole conversation, she'll just take over. And I'm like, I think it's because she doesn't have as many people to talk to now, so she holds on to a lot of things. Like we talk to so many people in our day to day, and sometimes we just want to be like silenced. And then, as our parents get older and they don't get to see other friends or they don't have a partner, they kind of hold on to stuff. And when they see their child or grandchild, everything opens up because they have so much to say. And so I let her talk and I listen, and that's nice too because I think she just waits for those conversations. And I try to have as many as I can. But, you always think that you got to make the time, like you said, Tanya. You just have to make the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like with my mom, when I talk to her, and I think that I might be like her. I think I might be similar in this way. When you haven't spoken in a really long time, you've got so much that you want to share that you just throw it all out there and you forget that the other person is part of this conversation. But for me, and I think my mom, you want to get it all out there because if you don't, you'll forget, and then you'll get off the phone or get whatever way you're communicating with them. It's like, oh, well then I'll be on the phone again for another hour talking about this particular thing. So you just just ramble, and there you go.
It's always an hour. It's always over an hour.
Yeah.
I know.
I also really enjoyed the part of this book. They had the mystery and the suspense to it because there was that whole not sharing secrets with each other. Like we knew Lucy's secret all along, but with Bridget, it was like figuring out what was happening with her and what she was trying to do. And I was like, when are we going to find out what's happening here? But that part of it definitely kept me going as well and kept me entertained and interested in the novel for sure.
And of course, a big part of this novel is about hooking up with somebody that you're not supposed to hook up with, right?
The forbidden.
Lucy hooks up with Bridget's brother, Felix, and it's a duration of 5 yehave The book goes back and forth between now and like a year ago or whatever. So 5 years, they always have these hookups, right? Have you ever have somebody in your life that you constantly just keep, maybe in your past
gravitating towards?
Gravitating towards, like you just, for whatever reason, it's like, oh, I'm on Prince Edward Island again. I'm going to hook up with Felix, and then another year will go by and another, or do you ever hooked up with someone that you just shouldn't be, even if it's just like once?
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Oh, I've been there.
So I kind of.
Yeah.
Do tell, Deb.
Do tell, Deb.
This book is steamy. Let's get our conversation. No.
Well, as an adult, sometimes, if you're not in a serious relationship, you do have these. And when somebody lives in a different town or a different city, then you don't see them very often. So then it just becomes one of those relationships. And actually, I was hearing it was a video of this woman in her 80s that went viral recently, and she was talking about having these relationships, dating in her 80s. And basically, it was the seniors version of friends with benefits. But she just talked about how she has this relationship and she only sees him 2.5 days out of the week. So for it's the weekend. 2.5 days. And during the week leading up to that and on the other side, they both do their own thing with their own families. They don't find it necessary to get together with both families. If they want to, fine. But there's no pressure. It's just we can do our own things and enjoy this part of our life. And then we've got a different kind of companionship on the weekend. And I guess they feel more comfortable and open about it because they're at a different stage in their life. But as she was talking, I thought, oh, isn't that just friends with benefits? Just at a different stage in your life.
Yeah, I think that's great because it's like if they're both on the same page, it's always that concern that one person will want to change it up or change the game or have the feelings. And that's what kind of happened in this book. They kind of were both like, these are our rules, but then they would have these feelings, but they thought the other person wasn't having the feelings. And then it leads to like a bit of animosity. And I guess if you're single like that, like being in a situation, say you did date someone or you hooked up with someone and then constantly having to see them over and over again at these like family functions and friend events, like especially if you do carry those feelings, like what are you supposed to do? Like you can't escape them, and then you're kind of like okay, but like so I mean I feel like this probably happens more than we know, or maybe our single friends want to share with us about it, but but I think it's just if those people are on the same page, then go for it for sure. But I always think like I've always been that long-term person, and I just don't know if I could do that or just have that kind of like that. It's like this open situation where I don't know where it's leading. It's either like you're with me or you're not. Pick one. Pick a lane. It's probably how I cornered my husband into marrying me. But
there's a level of excitement, I think. You know, Deb, you're talking about like they're in another town, and you know, a few years ago I was dating a guy from Vancouver, and you know, he was like an audio engineer and he would always work on cruise ships. So eventually got to the point where he was basing himself here in Edmonton, and then he'd just fly out to wherever he needed to fly out. But it was just that excitement of just, you know, you don't see them for a while and then you see them, right? Or I'd, you know, hop to Vancouver for the weekend, you know, and stay with him. Or he'd come in and stay. Just that kind of level of just existing, which is so different than just, you know, kind of the everyday. Didn't last though.
But it's just, I get, like you
say,
was
fun.
The excitement of it, because then it's always these like big weekends together, right? It's like you plan for it, it happens, you're together, you're present, you're really enjoying each other's company. Whereas like, you know, when you are with someone permanently all the time, all together, sometimes it's hard to find those little moments of excitement because you sometimes can take for granted that they're right there, and so you're not like, oh my God, like let's get excited about seeing each other. It's like I see you every day. Like date nights are exciting or whatever when you make an effort, but other than that, there's something to be said about that. And this couple was quite young. Like it'd be great if there was a novel, like you said, about these people that are like, you know, a confident woman in her 50s doing this, or you know, like it's just that's kind of I think what would be interesting to read and relatable. I haven't read any of her other books, but the fact that she just shines such a light on the locations and stuff, and that's what she said, some books offer us an escape. If you can't go to PEI, I've described it for you, and she's got 2 other books. So I'm curious to kind of read those based on the location and kind of that. I mean, I liked the storyline, but at times it was was what was selling me, was kind of like the description of this beautiful place and the friendship part of it more than the relationship. But it kept me on my toes, because usually the guys are the players, and in this situation he was not a player. He was ready to kind of be with her, but they just needed to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and I you know, I thought that PEI was a character as well, right? Carley sort of wrote it that way, and yeah, I really connected with it. I want to go to PEI. I want to meet Felix or a version of him. Wait a minute, I'm in a relationship. Never mind.
You can't. You have to just, you know what? Set up set up that Vino Verde oyster date at home.
Oh,
yeah. They ate a lot of oysters. Maybe that has something to do with the steaminess.
Yes.
I don't know.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
The orgasm that comes from that. Isn't that what it's supposed to be? Like
Isn't there like
orgasmic food?
Yeah.
Supposed to be. I don't really like oysters. Perhaps I should add them to my diet.
I don't either.
When you need a little more spiciness in your life, you got to have a glass of wine and
I need an oyster
oysters.
shucker in my life.
Oh my dear. Oh, it was a great read. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If you want some fun, read the book, because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to read. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Carley is really good with her descriptions, whether it be the sex scenes or the description of the location or the flower shop. Like, she's got a great mind for that. So I really liked that. Yes.
Describing what the island, like landing on the island and smelling certain things, or, if she comes across that smell, she's instantly brought back to PEI.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that part of it too.
Be interesting to see from tourism PEI what how many more women travel to the island in search of Felix this summer.
I know. Thanks again for being with us. We hope you enjoyed our conversation around Carley Fortunes. This summer will be different. Until next time, bye.
Thank you for kicking back and relaxing with us. We hope you'll join us again on Relaxing Reads.